I'm going to sort of do a follow-up video here on my initial unboxing and review of my Kyosho Mini Z Moto Racer, Casey Stoner Edition. And I've got a few upgrade parts here I got from the local hobby store. This is the Mini Z Moto Racer racing parts set, and this comes with some ball bearing, sliders, and an xspeed motor, and a upgraded front wheel, although I'm not sure what the effect of that's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and do this and take this whole thing apart in this video. I've got my tools here, 0-point Phillips, and I also have a smaller Phillips, and I've got some tweezers here to get to some of the smaller pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking this apart. First of all, the fairings come off. On the bottom here, 2 screws. The front one is actually longer than the back one. So now with screwdrivers, I just generally find that I like to use the largest screwdriver point that will fit well within this. Sometimes you can go with the smaller ones, but usually if you have a good set of screwdrivers like these Wias, then it's usually not too big of a deal. You can use whatever. I'll pop the driver off here. Generally, the angle on the tips of the screwdrivers are well enough that you can use them on very small screws. So I've got the 2 out here. I'm going to take the battery cover off. Got that off here. And there's actually a battery in here, so I'll go ahead and slide that out now too. So this front piece just sort of detaches and slides right off very easily. Off to the side. And next I'm going to go ahead and pull the tank off, small screw. Now all the screws are the same size, except for the one on the forward of the bottom of the main fairing. The rest of the body screws are about the same size. We're close. So that's off, tank's off, and seat. Helps when you got magnetized. And there's one here at the bottom of the back, which is kind of hard to get to, but not too bad. There we go. A little bit tricky to get to. Screw's still in it. There we go. And with that, the seat comes off, and we're almost down to the bare chassis. Now this the card here sort of is loose, and there is a slot for it right here inside of the main one. So when you're putting this all back together, you have to make sure you get the circuit board in that slot, and it is a little bit of a pain. So you have to make sure you do that. Now the bar ends here, which I'm going to have to do first. Just 2 screws in here, and they're going to come right out. And let's see here, I'm good here. Now putting this all back together, you have to be very careful, because a lot of these wires sort of go all over the place in here. Out. I've just loosened the screw, I didn't pull it all the way out. A lot of the wires sort of go all over the place in here, and the bodywork can pinch it, and I have already, heard stories. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard stories of people who pinched their wires and had problems with their bikes afterwards. Alright, those are pulled out, so those will be easy to replace. And we're also going to be replacing the can motor, which is way down right in here, so that's going to be a little screw on the side to get the case cover off. Oh, this is a long one. Very long screw there. And that's not the whole of it. Yes, it is. I'll give that a little bit of a wiggle. A little bit more. And on both sides, and actually the entire wheel will come off. Interesting. And see, it runs back there. But I'll just this off. There's some gears inside there. Make sure your ball bearings don't fall out. And I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this back wheel piece from the circuit board here. And I'm going to use tweezers. Get a little bit of a grip on it. There we go. So now this is detached, and I'm just going to set this over to the side. And there's it from the other side there. So I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty here. So I've got the motor in here, and that just presses out. Going to get over here. And once again, I'm going to use my tweezers to sort of push this out, because it's better to carefully push it out with the tweezers than it is to yank it out. You can damage the wire ends. And it is a little bit fiddly. There we go. There we go. And the standard motor is out. And you also have to press, you're going to have to press this onto the new motor. So let's go ahead and open up our parts here and get into that. So sort of decide, I'm not going to do the front wheel in this video. I'm just going to get the motor taken care of. A very nice set of tweezers is always a big help when you're doing these very small projects. The plastic tweezers that come with the kit aren't really going to do the job. I've got these very nice WIA ESD safe tweezers, which are very nice. And I'm happy I made the investment. They are a little bit expensive for my kit I have. It also comes with that screwdriver, but I feel as though it's well worth it. Okay, so here's my motor. Looks basically exactly the same as the old motor, so interesting. Hopefully it actually is an upgrade. Alright, so I'm going to use my flat piece here and see if I can get this loose. So I'm just sort of pushing it up to sort of loosen it, and it is coming off, although it's hard to see. There we go, and we're off. Go ahead and press this onto the new one. I'm going to press it down to make sure it stays flush. And there we are. New motor. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and press this through. Gears coming out. Goes in pretty easy. Not too rough. And we'll get this hooked back up to the circuit board. And just press this in. Nice and easy. There we go. Back into the circuit board. And the circuit board can still sit. Good routing so far. No problems. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and put the wheel back on. Goes on this side. So we'll go ahead and make sure we retain where the wires are coming out here, and sort of push this all back on here. And it goes right back on, and I'm going to sort of use my tweezers here to make sure I'm using the same wiring routing. Other side, nothing's falling out. Rub that dirt off. I only ran it one time so far. The dirt's already building up. I can foresee having to sort of break this thing down from time to time. But the bearings are all very good quality and they're holding up just fine. So, alright, so looks like I'm going to have to sort of get it around here, but we'll start by lining up the top so we know where that needs to go. A little bit fiddly. And it looks like I'm going to have to sort of use my tweezers again to sort of pry the mud guard up so I can get the rest of the piece sort of set down in there. Fiddly, fiddly. That's a little bit of a pain. And we're in. Very good. All lined up. Very good. Pieces all in. And we can start with reassembling here. So I've got my big, huge, long screw that goes in here. Down we go. No, I really, thus far I've had a really good time with this bike. Obviously, like I said, I've only ridden it once on carpet with the old sliders. It was sort of skipping off the carpet. So I'm hoping the new sliders, I'm pretty sure they're going to work a little bit better. But I am, I can't lie, I am a little concerned that they won't because of the carpet. They may work, but at the same time, they may, hold on, get these back on here. They may work. Go ahead and pop that in there. Grab my screwdriver. And tighten this down. Now these have a reasonable amount of running torque on them. The purpose of these screws is basically just to make sure that it doesn't rotate after it goes in, and tighten down against it. So I'm gonna go somewhat tight, but not horribly tight, because this is a pretty lightweight body, and the last thing I want is to crack my frame, have to order more parts. That's why I got out of doing stuff like helicopters, because every time I ran the dang thing, well, that sound looks pretty nice. Rolling right there. Rolling, very good. And it's kind of nice that they're at this angle, because I see as they roll down while you're turning, it'll actually more or less be rolling in the same direction you're wanting the bike to go. So hopefully that'll work out well. May have to rearrange some of these wires here though, because it looks like I'm going to want these two wires to go under instead of over that. So real quick, I'm going to fix that before it becomes an issue. Wire routing on this model is very important. So I'm going to just quarter turn, move it down, reinstall, and tighten it back up. So there, now I basically have my new motor and my bumpers installed. I'll go ahead and let's not forget to put these connector back in so I have a motor. Let's go, let's go. Right way would help. That's it. And basically just a matter of, at this point, putting the fairings back on. So that's about all the time I have. Run out of time. These YouTube videos don't last forever. So that's what I'm going to go there. Putting the fairings back on is pretty self-explanatory. And I'll just go ahead and do the wheel by myself, or decide whether or not to do it. But also, I hope this was somewhat informative, and I'm going to follow it up with some running video of the new motor, see if it makes any difference. It looks exactly the same. Interesting. And then, of course, the rollers. Hopefully that works a little better. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.